Yo, this is Afro, aka All Flows Reach Out, and you're listening to Built for This Network. Yes, sir. From the building, stay bomb.
Hey, yeah, we're the same brothers from a long time ago. We was talking about television and doing it on the radio. What we did was to help our generation realize they got to get out there and get busy because it wasn't going to be televised. We got respect for young rappers and the way they freewaying. But if you're going to be teaching folks things, be sure you know what you're saying. Older folks in our neighborhood got plenty of know-how. Remember, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be out there now. And I ain't coming at you with no disrespect. All I'm saying is that you damn well got to be correct. Because if you're going to be speaking for a whole generation and you know enough to try and handle their education, be sure you know the real deal about past situations and ain't just repeating what you heard on a local TV station. Sometimes they tell lies and put them in a truthful disguise. But the truth is, that's why we said it wouldn't be televised. They don't know what to say to our young folks, but they know that you do. And if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? The first sign is peace. Tell all them gun-toting young brothers that the man is glad to see us out there killing one another. We raised too much hell when they were shooting us down, so they started poisoning our mind and trying to jerk us all around. And then they tell us they got to come in and control our situation. They want half of us on dope and the other half in incarceration. If the ones they want dead ain't killed by what they instigated, they can put some dope on the brother's body and claim it was drug-related. Tell them drug-related means there don't need to be no investigation, or at least that's the way they're gonna play it on the local TV station. All your 9mm brothers, give them something to think about. Tell them you heard that this is the new word. They got to work that stuff out. Because somehow they feeling the wrong way with a gun in their hands. They feeling real independent, but they just pulling contracts with a man. 5 and 5 will tell you it's hopeless out there on the avenue, but if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? And if they look at you like you're insane and they start calling you scarecrow and say you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have finally co-opted your game, or worse yet, implying that you don't really know, that's the same thing they said about us a long time ago. Young rappers, one more suggestion before I get out of your way. But I appreciate the respect you give me and what you got to say. I'm saying protect your community and spread that respect around. Tell brothers and sisters they got to calm that bullshit down. Because we're terrorizing our old folks and we brought fear into our homes. And they ain't got to hang out with the senior citizens. Just tell them, damn it, leave the old folks alone. And we know who ripping off the neighborhood. Tell them that BS has got to stop. Tell them you're sorry they can't handle it out there, but they got to take the crime off the block. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or start calling you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have suddenly co-opted your game, or worse yet, saying that you really don't know, that's the same thing they said about me a long time ago. And if they tell folks that you finally lost your nerve, that's the same thing they said about us when we said Johannesburg. But I think you young folks need to know that things don't go both ways. You can't talk respect on every other song or just every other day. What I'm speaking on now is the raps about the women folks. On one song, she's your African queen, and on the next one, she's a joke. And you ain't said no words that I haven't heard, but that ain't no compliment. It only insults 8 people out of 10 and questions your intelligence. 4-letter words or 4-syllable words won't make you a poet. It will only magnify how shallow you are and let everybody know it. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or they call you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that the white folks have finally co-opted your game, or you really don't know, they said that about me a long time ago. If they finally start telling people that you lost your nerve, that's what they said about Johannesburg. You ain't insane. You have got a brain. You haven't gone lame. You have got your game. Remember, keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. We're talking about peace.
feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herbs. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, H-Rap B. Hello, this is your man H-Rap B coming at you live and direct. Thank you for tuning in. This is Build and Destroy. As I do every week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few things that have to do with the community. We're going to build a community, destroy the lies and the propaganda that surround the community. As I stated, I am H-Rap B. Thank you for tuning in. Now, this is what we're going to do. As usual, I am going to give knowledge to my ancestors. What I do every week is give acknowledgement to my ancestors. Without them, there is no me. Without them, there is no me. With that being said, I want you to understand that I am 50% Williams, 50% Pollard, and that is my mother, my mother, Dolores, and my father, John. They make up of me, and I bring this to you. Thank you for tuning in. As usual, I want you, if you're listening to the program on the YouTube side, I want you to hit that thumbs up, and I want you to subscribe and share and tell a friend to tune in. It is greatly appreciated. It helps the algorithm. It helps draw people to me because the information I have disseminated, I believe it is vital. If you're on Facebook, please hit that thumbs up as well. It is important that you do so because, again, it helps the program expand. Now, as usual, every week. Oh, yeah, you can also get this on www.theendofthebench.com, TheEndofthebench.com, the name of the show.com. Thank you for tuning in. It is a pleasure to disseminate this information to everyone involved. Now, why is my baby talking about? Damn. Okay. Well, anyway. We'll talk about it later. With that being said, as usual, I ask 3 questions every week. What do we want as a community? What do we need? And how do we get it? What do we want? What do we need? And how do we get it? It is important that we ask these things because, as the title of the show states, we are under duress as a community. We are under duress as a community. Hate is on the horizon. These people who control a lot of the portions of the government and these people who are attempting to oppress and deny us opportunities are gearing up. See, what I believe, this is 2.0. You have Windows and you have Windows 2.0. That's the next version. You have hate, which started unofficially in 1619. It started way before then, but unofficially it started in 1619 when the first people of our culture were captured and brought over here and put into permanent indentured servitude. With that being said, those people were put into slavery and it set forth a chain reaction. Later on, believe it or not, the very first man who legally owned people permanently for a lifetime was a black man by the name of Anthony Johnson. Look it up. Anthony Johnson, first person to force an African or anyone in the North America to be enslaved for life. Slavery used to be a 7-year thing, or you worked off a debt. Once you worked off the debt, you went on. I'll give you the brief story. It was a brother who was working for Anthony Johnson. A white man walked up and said, "What are you still doing here, man? You like working with Mr. Johnson?" He said, I'm in slavery. I am enslaved. He said, "No, you come on down to my farm." Anthony saw the man leave his farm, working with the white man, took the white man to court. Court made slavery permanent. That's why our ancestors were in the situation that we're in. Back to the point. So you had oppression 1.0 at that point, 1619, the 1619 Project. There's a documentary on a docu-series on Hulu. It is extremely interesting. Check it out. But since then, we've been dealing with variations of hate, variations of discrimination, variations of things that are variations of oppression, colonization, and colonialism. Colonization is taking the land. Colonialism is taking your mind. That's the difference. Remember, colonization is the apprehension of land. Colonialism is the taking of your mind. We are dealing with both right now. We are, like I say every week, we are living on a crime scene. We are literally living at a crime scene. And what I mean by we're living at a crime scene, there's murder, there's mayhem, there's kidnapping, there's thievery, there's breaking of contracts. Those are criminal acts. And we're living here, and we're living at a habitual crime scene. So you could potentially never get justice on stolen land unless you take over the situation. And that's my goal here, to empower people of working class status to use the rights that they have, why they still have them, because we're going to get into that in a little bit. So you won't be put into indentured servitude. So your rights won't be stripped of you, because ignorance is the key. Ignorance is the key to all of this. As long as you stay ignorant of the laws, people will be able to inflict tyranny upon you as long as they want. But if you are informed, if we take the natural steps to inform ourselves, to educate ourselves, to empower ourselves, then at that point, and only that point, will we be able to take off from that point and then move forward as a community, as a nation, as a culture. So what I want us to do, this is why I do this. I do this so we can empower ourselves. Again, back to the original point. I believe we are in hate 2.0. Look at the history of the country. You had a group of white men who said, we're tired of listening to the king and queen. So they started what is called the Revolutionary War. And then they wrote a doctrine called the Constitution. They wrote a Declaration of Independence, and they wrote the Constitution. These are a set of laws that will govern the land that we sit upon today, and we follow those laws, which is a bit archaic. How can people 247 years later be able to determine what's going on right now? But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is simply this. These people are, they see, evil is cyclical. Evil has a rhythm, a pattern. It repeats itself over and over, over and over. It doesn't change. It may show up in a blue shirt when it's usually in a red shirt, or a red shirt when it's usually in a black shirt, but it's still in the same shirt. It's like if I did this show next week in a red shirt, and instead of the name of my show in red and black, have a gray shirt with the same colors. It's still the same show. It's still the same shirt. It's the same message. Evil does that over and over again. And it's this African symbol called Sankofa. It is a bird walking in this direction, looking backward with an egg in its mouth. It is representative of moving forward, knowing what your history is so you can take care of your future. If you know what your history is, it tells you why you are where you are. And that egg represents the future, so you can navigate the future because you know what your past is. Because we live in a country that does away with education and does not want you to be educated. What they do is hide the truth from you. I'm going to show you some things in videos later on that shows you that truth that has been hidden from you. And the reasons that have been hidden from you is to distract you from your greatness. Now, again, then there was a thing called, I'm skipping portion because I'm skipping the Spanish-American War and things of that nature, because those things aren't pertinent to what I'm talking about right now. Because we will have people watching going, he missed this. Then you got the Civil War. The country was about to tear itself apart. They had a war to maintain the Union. And what you don't learn in school is Lincoln did not free the enslaved people in our culture. We freed them. We saved their bacon once again. We saved their bacon in the Revolutionary War because we taught them immunization when they were dying. And then we saved them again when they were getting their butt whooped in the Civil War. And then there was this period called Reconstruction. It was a 12-year period where black people were getting elected to government. They had their own businesses, their own housing. They were upwardly mobile for a 12-year period. You're talking about over 300 people elected to the Congress, and you had mayors and senators and governors and state people all over the country, right? It wasn't as vast as it is now. So just imagine half or like maybe 2/5 of the size of the country that the country is now, but you got fewer people and more Black people in play making decisions. We created public school because we started. It used to be illegal for us to learn, to read in English, because they say, well, Black people are illiterate. No, we could read in our own language. You could read in Yoruba. You could read, in different dialects in Africa, but you couldn't read English, so they made you illiterate. Another way to knock you down the peg, saying he's illiterate. No, I can't read your language, but I can read mine. But how can people who invented writing things down, documenting things, not be able to read? No, I can't read. Like if me and you, we go to France, we're illiterate. Well, you could potentially be college educated, but you'll be illiterate in France. You'll be illiterate in Germany. You'll be illiterate in Africa. You wouldn't be able to read any of their languages. But that doesn't mean you're ignorant or stupid. That would make you ignorant. It would make you stupid. Now, that 12-year period is called Reconstruction. During the Reconstruction period, we were dominating. We created towns, and I'm going to show you one of those towns in just a second, and that's why I'm talking about this now. We created entire cultures. We were teaching our children to read. We created public schools. There were laws set in place. We were making headway. And what did people from the dominant culture or the European culture do? They came through and burned down things. And when they started burning down things, they started creating laws. When they started creating laws, they came out with the Black Codes. What is the Black Code? Hey, I know I just freed you less than a decade ago, but if we catch anybody standing around without a job, you can go to jail. Oh, by the way, that 13th Amendment that freed you, it says if you're convicted of a crime, you could be put back in bondage. You see what I mean? Loitering was not illegal until after the Civil War. So you see what I'm saying? It is over. It's this thing in Chicago, just to show you how it never changed. In the 80s, if you hanging out with your partners in Chicago, don't ask me why me and my homeboys used to stand out on the corner, literally on the corner. But we did. And if it was more than 5 of us, police would jump out their car and they could potentially arrest us and put us in a police station and book us for what is called mob action. Same thing was happening in the 1860s and 70s. From 1865 to 1877 was called the Reconstruction period because we were reconstructing our being. We had been attempted to be beat down to buck private, and we were building up our community. We were doing it at an alarming rate. Again, I will show you a video to back up everything that I'm saying. And he's not lying. Inside joke. But this is happening again. I want you to understand. We are in the midst of a Reconstruction-esque period in the United States of America. They feel as if they had a war in 2008 through 2012. 2008 to 2016. That was when one Barack Hussein Obama took office. Hate crimes went up. A lot of hate groups created, and you had a president who was an open, in my personal opinion, in my purview, because I'm not calling you this, Mr. Trump, because you're good to sue somebody, but on you ain't gonna give me it's a bunch of sneaks, but a couple grand in the bank. But a lot of hate started ginning up at that point when you had Obama in office. This was an opportunity in their mind, and we should have taken the same opportunity for us to start reconstructing our community. We went through that period in the 60s where they were destroying our leaders, in the 70s where they started pumping dope and stripping our communities of opportunities, and then in the 80s that crack thing hit, and then the opportunities are stripped and people are falling victim to the ultimate plan, confessed by one aide, by Richard Milhouse Nixon. His number one aide admitted this on 2020, a news program that used to come on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. So for those people who always say, oh man, you have to take accountability for yourself, you do. But guess what? It's a reason Dr. King stepped up and I didn't. It's the reason Malcolm X stepped up and Fred didn't, and John didn't, and Joe didn't, because some people are built to be leaders. And some people are built to build the things that they're leading towards. Everybody can't be a leader because then nothing will get done. We just be pointing out orders. Again, some people don't have the will and the intestinal fortitude that all of us have. Some of us have. So it's up to us to, that's why God said in Ephesians 33, you are a watchman. If you, this is right out the Bible, if you see someone committing sin, I'm paraphrasing, these are not God's word. If you see someone commit, he says sin is inevitable. And if you see someone committing that said sin and you don't attempt to correct them, you are liable as well. That's why God said those things, because we are liable for each other. But back to the point. Now, this is what we're doing. Now we're in that reconstruction period, because now you got Bozo the clown as the president. He's spewing all this hate, this divisiveness and decisiveness. We've gone through this 1965 to right now, 57-year history, 57-year period of integration, not working. If you ask me, hey, everybody see it the way they see it, but I don't think it's working. But back to the point, and that project seems to be failing. At that point, I personally believe we need to take a step back from the integration thing and work on our own thing. Me and my lady get into a fight. I cannot fix what's going on at my sister's house without trying to fix what's going on in my house. People, ladies, gentlemen, haters, and bitter friends, we, no matter how much you dislike me or like me or pay attention to what I say every week, it's time for us. It is time for us to step up and work with each other. And then you put your discrimination to the side. I'm sick of the LGBTQ, but they black first. I'm sick of the Christians, but they black first. I'm sick of the Muslims. I'm sick of the Jehovah's Witnesses. We could be sick of this. We could be sick of all of that. And contrary to popular belief, these other cultures are sick of each other too. But if you step to one of them, they galvanize, they form like Voltron and fight off the enemy, and then they go back to hating each other privately, right? We, as a community, as the black community, as the descendant of the enslaved African community here in these United States of America, we must get past our differences and learn how to work together, because these people, and I will be talking about that shortly, are working to destroy you. You may think I'm hyperbolic. Oh man, rap. You know how you with the pro-black thing. You know, you look over the top. You know, you tripping. I got some cool black white folks and my friend. I got some cool this and I got some cool that. And me too. I got a cousin with a white mom. I got a cousin who's dating a white woman. She seems to be cool. Mindy seems to be a super cool lady. But we're not talking about the Mindys. We're not talking about the Wendy's. We're talking about their cousins, their uncles, their aunts. And we talk about the people that are around them that hate your black guts and hate everything about you. And every time you try to make something happen, they destroy you. They will destroy you every chance they get. Those are the people I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is show you this video that I've been speaking about, and to show you why they're doing away with trying. This is why they're trying to get away with history, because I'm going to show you the history of our country, of our culture, what we were able to do 40 years after being enslaved for 200 years. And I want you to understand, this is in you as well. But the only way it's not in you, if you keep falling for divide and conquer. Today, right before the show started, I got a text from my nephew, and it said, young man, it had the face of a black man on TMZ. He shot somebody in a debate over Michael Jordan and LeBron. Look, you may think I'm stretching it, but I want you to understand, this Jordan and LeBron debate is the latest, the 2.0 of divide and conquer. If you don't understand or believe what I'm saying, this is what I want you to understand. You got half the people loving LeBron, half the people hating LeBron, right? Oh man, blah, blah, blah. I can like who I want. You can, but you don't have to. In order for me to like something, I don't have to denigrate something else. My old lady is fine as wine to me. She don't have to be nice looking to you. She dope to me. She don't have, and you don't have to tell me that my old lady ain't fine as wine in order for you to love your woman. Divide and conquer. They splitting us up, and it's on a micro level. On this level, first you got half the people loving LeBron, half the people hating him, and that's cool. But you don't have to denigrate LeBron to like, to dislike, to love Michael Jordan. Then let's take it back for us up 58 years. Malcolm X or Dr. King, you gonna go with King or X? I'm rolling on both of them, because guess what? If they both win, we liberated and we educated and we are powerful. You don't have to pick one. Before that, you go back to the beginning of the century. There was this man by the name of W.B. Du Bois, and was a man by the name of Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington was a dude who was more like Dr. King. W.B. Du Bois was like, we got to get away from these people. And guess what? They separate us there. At some point, we're going to stop separating, galvanize as a community, and move forward. I want you to watch this video. I'll be back shortly. This is your man, H-Rap. I'll be back shortly.
Just how wealthy was Black Wall Street? Well, today we're going to find out. The stories of Greenwood's prosperity became legend in the Black community, and in fact, in the whole. The creation of the powerful Black community known as Black Wall Street was intentional. In 1906, O.W. Gurley, a wealthy African-American from Arkansas, moved to Tulsa and purchased over 40 acres of land that he made sure was only sold to other African-Americans. The young entrepreneur had just resigned from a presidential appointment under President Grover Cleveland in order to strike out on his own. Mr. Gurley became a multi-millionaire, and he was the owner of several businesses, including his prized possession, which was a hotel. He also provided an opportunity for those who migrated from the harsh oppression of Mississippi. Another important visionary who contributed to the success of Black Wall Street was Mr. J.B. Stratford. J.B. Stratford had graduated from Indiana University with a law degree and had moved to Greenwood to purchase various land vacancies in the area. After buying these vacant spaces, he would then sell them to African-American residents for redevelopment so that these empty spaces could be transformed into residential houses and profitable businesses. By 1921, Mr. Stratford had been considered one of the wealthiest in the country, as he owned numerous properties in Greenwood and even had his hotel named after him, the Stratford Hotel. O.W. was a subscriber to the philosophies of Booker T. Washington, while J.B. was a follower of the more radical W.E.B. Du Bois. Nonetheless, the differences aside, the two men began to develop an all-Black district in the unincorporated stretch of land north of Tulsa's train station. O.W. and J.B. both became rich as the oil industry boomed in Tulsa, and hundreds of African Americans immigrated to Greenwood. The 40 acres that were purchased resulted in a thriving community that populated a 35 square block district. There were over 600 businesses, and on Black Wall Street were attorneys, real estate agents, dentists, pilots, architects, musicians and singers, entrepreneurs, doctors, pharmacists, dry cleaners, plumbers, barbers, hairdressers, professors and teachers, nurses, bankers, newspaper editors, among many other professions who offered their services in the neighborhood. A dollar circulated 36 to 100 times, and it remained in the Greenwood district almost a year before leaving. To this day, no other community has been able to duplicate that type of circulation. There are communities today, however, where the dollar stays in about 30 days and 45 days, but no other community, as has been said, has ever been able to match that type of circulation. Although it wasn't the only one, there were prominent Black business districts in Durham, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, and Rosewood, Florida. The people of Greenwood achieved a level of Black economic success and self-determination that had never existed before in the United States. Less than 60 years removed from slavery, to put that in perspective. Despite racial discrimination and Jim Crow segregation, the Greenwood district offered truth. Black entrepreneurs were capable of creating abundant wealth. When left alone, our ancestors thrived. And one such example is this. In the entire state of Oklahoma, there were only 2 airports. Yet 6 Black families owned their own private planes in the district of Black Wall Street. Wow, imagine that. Folks, think about that for a second. There were 2 airports in the entire state of Oklahoma, yet 6 families, all private planes. What an accomplishment. Many of the homes had indoor plumbing before those in the white area. Booker T. Washington actually coined it Negro Wall Street. It was also known at that time as Little Africa. What made Black Wall Street truly special is that it was a place an ordinary person could go, such as a sharecropper, and have a respectable life, find decent paying work, and hope for a better life for his or her children. With oil men relocating to Tulsa, the resulting high demand for domestics enabled Blacks to attain unheard of wages. Maids earned $20 to $25 a week, chauffeurs earned $15, gardeners earned $20, janitors, shoe shiners, and porters earned around $10. Domestics made up almost 2/3 of Greenwood's population, the remainder being professionals and business owners, whom the maids and chauffeurs hoped their children could imitate. As you can see, Black Wall Street was very low rent. Keep in mind, the domestics spoken of were actually blacks working for other blacks. The average income of black families in the area exceeded what the minimum wage is today. These were people who were actually living in the lap of luxury. Black Wall Street was its own city. It was a booming self-contained community, and many of the residents lived in luxury. Greenwood Avenue had been lined with hotels, restaurants, furriers, and even an early taxi service using a Ford Model T. For that time, that would be like driving a modern-day Bentley. This is actually a picture of the Stratford Hotel, owned by Mr. J.B. Stratford. And he is a great example of excellence and abundance in the early 1900s. As stated earlier, he was a multi-millionaire.
Grandpa, when I found the bird, I prayed, God, you made this poor little guy.
In addition to Mr. Stratford and Mr. Gurley, the district's most successful entrepreneurs reinvested in the community, building parks, schools, churches, theaters, banks, and they had access to many luxuries that whites in the same city did not. As a matter of fact, white people routinely borrowed money from black banks, and this was even done during the Great Depression. Here's a picture of bank owners and employees taking a picture in front of one of the black-owned banks. Here's the picture of one of the theaters that lined the Greenwood district. During that time, while showing the silent movies, they would have a live piano player playing alongside the movie, which was the custom of the day. So you see, Black Wall Street had all of the modern-day conveniences and luxuries. They were a community that really wanted for nothing. The schools were superior to those of the white West. When the average student went to school on Black Wall Street, he wore a suit and tie because of the morals and respect they were taught. Black Wall Street contained a business college. As a matter of fact, the children of Greenwood's professionals attended Columbia Law School, Oberlin College, Hampton University, Tuskegee Institute, Spelman College, and Atlanta University. Black Wall Street was a dream in progress and a symbol of black success. Just how wealthy was Black Wall Street? The truth is, we'll really never know. But based on the facts, we can confidently say that today's worth will be well into the billions. And just think, that was a self-contained community that was just developed. There is no telling where it would be today. Although Greenswood, Tulsa, Oklahoma may be a distant memory, fortunately for us, we can still keep the Black Wall Street spirit alive today.
For advertising opportunities, email us.
All right, this your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct. This is Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up our community and destroy the lies and propaganda around our community. That's what I'm talking about. This is why these wicked and debaucherous politicians are up to what they're up to. Because anytime we're left up to our own devices, we continue to decline. You look, that was 1910. That was the late 1800s to 1910. You talking about 200 years of bondage, and in less than 50 years, we created our own wealth base. So they must continue to create these fictitious boundaries that we can't cross because I don't like this and you don't like that. You don't have to let people know what you do and do not like about people in your community. If I hate my sisters, if I hate my old lady, you will never know. We will put up a unified front up until we get home, and then we can cuss and scream and yell and fuss, and then we walk back out the door. You think we're the greatest couple in the history of the world. You think we're the greatest siblings in the history of the world. You think we're the greatest family in the history of the world. And our family, our communal family, must get used to this. We must go back to thinking that way. Otherwise, we will be destroyed. destroyed. This isn't a hyperbolic statement that I'm making. Destruction is what they are leaning toward. Period. That's it. When you have, and this is before I get to my main point. Well, one of my major points today, I want to do what I do every week. I want you, first of all, I want you to download what is called the 5 Calls app. The 5 Calls app. This allows you to get in contact with 5 people in your state government so you can make change. But up until and including the moment you do that, we have to get behind this. The Black Maternal Health Omnibus Bill, sponsored by House of Representative person here in the state of Illinois, in Schaumburg, Illinois, by the name of Lauren Underwood. This is going to help the Black maternal death rate drop. A lot of people, like my man Chief Rock, who just came in, are living in Georgia. There are counties in Georgia where women have never seen an OBGYN. There are counties in Georgia where they don't have birthing rooms, meaning they're giving birth in a traditional hospital room, and if anything goes wrong, you may die. 1,100 people transitioned in the year. I've been saying that wrong. Last year is actually 2021. It wasn't 2022. It's been 2021. But with 2021, 2022, who cares? 1,100 people died. 80% of those people didn't have to die. The death rate is 60% higher than it was in 1965. 60% higher, and it's 30. Add an additional 30% to that. That's Black women. So we must support our sister Lauren Underwood. And how do you support her? You call your state representative. 202-225-3121, 202-225-3121, and you let them know who you are, where you're voting, where I'm a registered voter in this area. They will direct you to your state rep. And as soon as you hang up, you say you want to support the omnibus bill, and then you call them back and you call your state senator. It's only 2. This is 3 calls I need you to make. 202-224-3121, your state senator, and have them sponsor this bill. The Black Maternal Health Omnibus Bill by Lauren Underwood in Chicago, Illinois, and Schaumburg, Illinois. We need to protect our women. You know why? You can hate women. You can be an old scorn dude. But guess what? Without women, you ain't going to have no kids. Your mama a woman. Your sisters are women. Your aunts are women. Your cousin, you have women cousins. You may have a significant other, unless you like homeboy. I ain't going to say his name. Sale. Unless you like homeboy and he just hate sisters. Everybody but him, call those phone numbers. Back to the point. This is why I'm doing this, because you have jerks like Ron DeSantis. He is acting a complete and utter fool in the state of Florida. And y'all know how much I love the state of Texas. I got family. My dad was born in Florida. My great-grandfather was born in Rosewood. My grandfather, well, my great-grandfather too. If my grandfather was born there, my great-grandfather was born there. We might have been not born there, but my grandfather was born there. He was born in Rosewood. So I got ties in Florida and Texas. My cousin Mike, one of my closest cousins, he lives in the state of Florida. So I got issues there. He got 2 boys. He got 2 daughters, 2 sons in the state of Florida. This affected him. So you got Governor Ron DeSantis, who wants to abolish. He just wrote laws he's getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Do you know he has rebranded diversity, equity, and inclusion to exclusion, discrimination, and indoctrination? Exclusion, discrimination, and indoctrination. Because diversity, equity, and inclusion allows everybody to get a shot at this. They cannot have everybody getting shots at this. Like I said 7 days ago. 7 days ago, I told you that initially they were going after the old people vote, because they know old people vote like you would not believe, because they understand the power of the vote. They understand that you need to make complaints. They understand that you need to stand on people's necks. Younger people know the same thing. It's this Generation X. We are horrible. Generation X, I've been saying it, and I'm going to keep saying, if you were born in the years 90, because that's a baby born. It's the end of baby born, 1960 and 1979. You, in my personal opinion, we collectively have dropped the ball. But the people who were born after that, they pick up the ball and running, and they kicking butt and taking names. So, okay, we don't need to be outshined. This dude is trying to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if you think, oh man, I'm sick of it, he dresses it up with things that he knows people are anti. Oh man, I'm sick of that gay stuff because they got this stuff on TV. They got an agenda. Okay, cool. But guess what? Let me give you an example of what Governor DeSantis is on. There's a liberal arts university called New University in the state of Florida. It's more like Palo Alto in California, University in Palo Alto, California, Stanford, or University of Cal Berkeley. It's a very liberal university. They talk about the LGBTQ. They talk about diversity and inclusion. They talk about they allow people to be free thinkers and be the best human beings that they can be. He literally says, if you want diversity, equity, inclusion, you need to go out to California. How is it that if I want diversity, equity, and inclusion, I need to go to California? Why can't I get it in the state that I pay taxes in, that I own property in, that I was born and raised in? Strike one. Strike two. This dude is a publicly owned university, meaning the state controls it. So what he did was take over the Board of Regents. He added members to the Board of Regents. Now he has total control of it, and they did away with all the diversity, equity, inclusion. Again, HRAP, how does that bother me? I don't live in Florida. That don't affect me, and I'm sick of that gay agenda, man. That's all they do is trying to force it down our throats. Okay, this is how it affects you. A lot of us, there has been an influx in the last 3 years since the George Floyd assassination, lynching on Memorial Day 2020. Since then, a lot of our young brothers and sisters are going to HBCUs. If you are not teaching diversity, equity, inclusion, that means they're doing away with anything that they're teaching about that. That HBCU is founded on diversity, equity, inclusion because we had to create Mary McLeod Bethune of Bethune-Cookman University. She created that institution because y'all didn't want us to go to University of Florida. Y'all didn't want us to go to Florida State University. Y'all didn't want us at University of Miami. So we had to create an opportunity so we would have, it would be a diverse institution. It is a historically Black university, but there are people from other cultures at that university. Equity, we want an equal shot at education. That's what that university for. And inclusion, we want to be included in an opportunity to pursue the American dream. That's what that institution is there. So if you're doing away with diversity, equity, inclusion, what does that do for HBCU? It does away with it. You think they only mess with the gay people and people who don't affect you, but what they're doing is setting the stage. And then you have the God, I didn't write this dude's name down. You have one of the biggest contributors to Ron DeSantis in the Republican Party come out and literally say they're not even hiding the racism, they're not even hiding the discrimination anymore. If we can successfully take over New University, that's the name of the university, look it up. If we can successfully take over New University, conservative institutions throughout the country can repeat what we're doing. And guess what? That means Alabama A&M, Texas, I think it's Texas Southern, Houston Tillerson, Prairie View Southwest, Morris Brown, Howard, so forth and so on. All those institutions are in jeopardy. And guess what? That means you don't have an opportunity to be educated. If you don't have an opportunity to be educated, you don't have an opportunity to go up. You don't have an opportunity to go up. You're in a caste system like in India. When you're born into poverty, you more than likely going to die in poverty, which in essence destroys the American dream. If the American dream is destroyed, guess what happens? The rich and powerful stay rich and powerful. The middle class dissipates, and the poor and struggling stay poor and struggling, or the working class and struggling stay working class and struggling. This is how it affects you. People don't look at the surface. I don't agree with that either. Why are you picking on them? Why are you picking on them? It's a reason you're picking on them, because that is low-hanging fruit. If you pick all the low-hanging fruit, evil never stops being hungry. So if they pick all the low-hanging fruit, what do? Reach up to the next one, which brings about my next topic at hand. It is this same governor in the same state made it illegal for undocumented immigrants to be in our country. Me and my homeboy, Big Illinois, we spoke in the Stogies this weekend after the old funeral, and we was talking about this, and I was like, "Yo," we were talking about, because we live in a town that in which they bring immigrants to. People are migrants, because they're not immigrants; they on Earth. How you immigrating to Earth? But they bring migrants. I forgot the name of this type of city they call it. But it don't make a difference. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They're bringing people here, and they're putting them in our neighborhoods, and they're putting them in institutions. They're putting them in schools that were shut down. Our children can no longer go to these schools, but they're putting these migrants in these schools and housing them and feeding them and putting them on the welfare rolls. And guess what? You got Ron DeSantis. He said it's illegal to be in this. It is a felony to be in the state of Florida undocumented. And it's also a felony if you give somebody that's an undocumented person a ride in your car. Now, both of y'all go to jail. And if you're in the school, you go to jail. Now, if you go to the hospital and you don't report this undocumented human being, those people are in trouble. All right. Again, how does that affect us? What citizens? Well, it's not going to affect us directly, immediately. But what happens is this. A lot of those migrant workers and a lot of those undocumented individuals, they used to work the fields. They used to pick the strawberries. They used to pick the oranges, and they used to pick the peaches, and they picked whatever fruit and vegetables that they're growing in Florida at that point. Guess what? A lot of those people left. So those small farms are closing. That destroys the little man. And those big farms are gonna buy that land. And then they dominate. So the little man gets crushed again. It's a lot of black farmers down there in Florida. But we're not going to talk about the black thing right now. It's a lot of small farmers down there in Florida. They get crushed, they get stepped on, and they get pushed out the way. And if what they're going to do is they're going to put a lawsuit in, put an injunction in, and those people won't be able to come back. But guess what happened when those people come back? By the time they come back, he's galvanized, in my personal opinion, his racist base. Oh, he down discrimination, down to, and they're trying to take our jobs. So, Mr. White Man, who say all these immigrants are coming here to take your job, I'm going to need your beep bop butt to go on down there and pick them strawberries and pick that fruit that those people who migrated here did because they was taking your jobs. Hey, Mr. Live in Kentucky, and I'm a conservative and I'm broke. I ain't got no teeth. I'm broke. I don't have no education. Go on down there to Florida, get you that job that they was taking from you. Mr. Mississippi, Mr. Alabama, Mr. Louisiana, Mr. Georgia, Mr. South Carolina. That's all y'all in these pockets, these racist pockets throughout the country that say people taking y'all jobs. It's a whole bunch of open jobs. It's construction jobs. It's working on the field jobs. It's shoveling and doing all the jobs that y'all think y'all that are beneath you. It's a bunch of them available in Florida. But you're not trying to go down there, are you? It's just rhetoric to galvanize these racist individuals who are attempting to pigeonhole. They're galvanizing their troops, and their troops are getting busted in the head as well. It's kind of like if you was watching Power, Tariq pull a gun on Tommy pull a gun on Tariq Mama. Tariq Mama trying to inch over to her gun. Tariq jumping thing. Tariq get hit in the back of the head. We don't know who hit Tariq. Y'all getting hit in the head. Y'all gonna get hit in the head too, because while they got the guns on the black people, the Latino people, and the Asian people, they're gonna bust you in your head just the same. Because it is the haves versus the have-nots. You think it's a color thing, and they've been tricking y'all with that since the word go, because y'all stupid. And I'm just quoting your fearless leader. I am going to be, if I ever run for president, I'm going to be a Republican because they're stupid. That's what your president said. Not that ain't a quote from H-Rap. That's what your president said. Mr. Donald J. Trump himself. You don't believe me? Look it up. It's on YouTube. And that's the beauty. You can fact check all the stuff that I'm saying. Back to the point. This is how you control a populace. You get something, to quote former president, God rest his soul, Lyndon Baines Johnson. If you can trick a white man, he said, all you have to do is get the poorest white man to believe he's better than a black man, and you only have to rob him. He'll give you his money. That has not changed, brothers and sisters. That's the game plan. Like I said at the top of the show, the game plan never changes. The players change. They still running like, rest in peace to my coach, Jimmy Field. Brian, all the plays work. It's about execution. This play has been working since 1619. Divide the people, make them think you divide the poor people, the working class people, make them think they're different. And then they'll be fighting amongst each other and we'll stay at the top. As Marie Antoinette said, they're starving, let them eat cake. And that's what we're doing. You have people in this community, in this United States of America, in the United States community, thinking they're better than people, and they're 30 cents away from a quarter, and they think they're better than you. They're living worse than you, and they're calling you lazy, and it will continue to work. It will continue to work because they're galvanized, they're racist power bases, they're coming together, they're voting because we're sick of these people. I heard a white man say it was Obama's fault the towers went down because he wasn't doing his job. Seeing how he wasn't the president, it's gonna be real hard for him to do that. He wasn't the president for the next 7 years, but knock yourself out, homeboy. Knock yourself out. you big dummy. But these are the things that we're dealing with. These are the things that we're dealing with. This is why they want to do away with CRT, critical race theory, or some people may even call it culturally responsive teaching. Culturally responsive teaching. What is culturally responsive teaching? You learn better when you're in the story. You learn better when you're in the story. To quote the great KRS-One Super MC, visualize wealth and put yourself in the picture. If you visualize history and put yourself in the picture, you're more apt to learn about your history. I am about to show you a video that's going to make you understand how important learning about your history is. And I did fact check this, because I know some people out there don't be thinking
and tribulation and poverty.
I'll be back.
Thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel.
In this video, we will be exploring evidence that proves that the first Americans were African.
African empires in ancient America tells the story of the numerous African groups who colonized Mexico, North and South America. Today, most people believe that African people never voyaged outside of Africa except as slaves. This is false. The Dufana boat discovered in Nigeria dates back to 12,000 BC. And hundreds of ancient African boats have been engraved on rocks in the Sahara Desert. Boats from Magan, Egypt, and Meluha, Kush, East Africa are mentioned in the Sumerian cuneiform text.
Evidence suggests that ancient Africans sailed to South America and Asia hundreds of years before the Europeans. This evidence debunks the propaganda that Europeans were the first to sail to the Americas. Many ancient societies in Africa built different types of boats, from small vessels to large ships that could carry up to 80 tons.
Africans have a long tradition of sea exploration and founded many of the major American civilizations. Although many people have heard about the possible discovery of America by Mansu Abukari of the Mali Empire and the giant Olmec heads of Mexico. This is also paired with a much earlier account of Black people with incredible skills at sea. Back in 445 BC, the Greek historian Herodotus wrote of King Ramses III leading a team of Africans at sea with outstanding seafaring and navigational skills. Together, both accounts would point to Africans sailing over the New World before Columbus. In his book, African Empires in Ancient America, Dr. Clyde Winters gives a detailed account of the Malian colonies established by these Western Africans in North America and Brazil.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house.
You will discover the role of the She or Olmec people as the mother culture of Mexico. Dr. Winters outlines the Aksumite discovery of America and the role of the Ethiopians in the rise of the Mochicha civilization and religion. In addition, this book discusses the ancient Sumerian influence in South America and the African role as mound builders in the United States. African Empires in Ancient America is the only book that finally explores the history of Black colonization of the Americas before Columbus. It is a must-read for anyone interested in a true history of America. For years, Eurocentric archaeologists have largely turned the other cheek when it came to the discovery of artifacts from ancient Egypt being discovered in the Americas. According to Dr. David Imhotep, the author behind the book The First Americans Were Africans, documented evidence, Egyptian artifacts found across North America, from the Algonquian writings on the east coast to the artifacts in Egyptian place names in the Grand Canyon, are all signs of an early arrival in the Americas by Africans.
The oldest human skull ever found in America is of a Paleo-Indian woman found in a cave in Brazil, South America. Obviously, she was not alone. Some archaeologists believe the young woman may have been part of the first wave of immigrants to South America. Nicknamed Luzia, her name pays homage to the famous African fossil Lucy, who lived 3.2 million years ago. The 11,500-year-old skeleton was found in Lapa, Vermelha, Brazil in 1975. These are pictures of the Grand Canyon, which many people believe are the pyramids in the U.S. The following, including this slide, shows the contents of the pyramids taken from the Grand Canyon, right here in the U.S. These are pictures taken from the pyramids found in the Grand Canyon, right here in the U.S. That area in the Grand Canyon is known as the Forbidden Zone. My question would be, if someone else other than Africans built the pyramids all over the world, why do the contents of the pyramids show predominantly Black people? Well, the answer is because Black people build the pyramids all over the world. The pyramids of the world were built by Black people. The proof is in the pyramids. And you'll notice that the contents of all the pyramids around the world are very rarely shown. What are they hiding? Egyptian-type pyramids right here in the U.S., which proves Africans were here thousands of years before anyone else. Pyramids built in Mexico. The pyramid mounds, which is the precursor to the pyramid in Mexico. And these mounds are scattered throughout the world, including the U.S., built by the pyramid builders themselves. Again, we see the mounds here in the U.S. There are even pyramids found in Antarctica. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Antarctica. Because of the global warming, the snow is melting, and you can see the tops of the pyramids begin to emerge. And these are clearly pyramids and not mountains. They have begun to emerge from the North and the South Poles. All over the planet, pyramids built by the pyramid builders. Further evidence of Blacks in America long before anyone else can be found in the Pueblo cliff dwellings in Colorado. Now, these dwellings, the Pueblo cliff dwellings, is now a tourist attraction in Colorado. These dwellings were built thousands upon thousands of years before anyone else populated this area. They were built by the Africans who settled here first. Now, this is a picture of cliff dwellings found in Mali, in Africa, today. The exact same cave dwellings built by the Africans in Mali. Now, what is the probability of the same exact buildings, the same exact architect built in Colorado as built in Mali, Africa? Built by the Africans in Mali and in Colorado. The same exact architect. Proof that the people who built the ones in Mali built the same ones in Colorado, in America. Further proof that Africans were there first. Now, this is either proof or it's a strange coincidence that the same exact architectural design was built in Mali and in Colorado. One of the references that we use for the material in the making of this video is the book, The First Americans Were Africans. We encourage everyone, please do not take our word for anything. Please do the research yourself. Draw your own conclusions. The evidence is overwhelming. In this book, Dr. David Imhotep lays out 17 pieces of evidence to support his research.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, thou art rich.
I'm back again. Once again, it's on your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct. Thank you for tuning in. And as I was saying, that was proof positive. This is why you need to know your history. Why do you need to know that? The reason you need to know that is because you have these ignorant races throughout the United States of America that will tell you go back to where you're from and you were here 5, 10, 100,000 years ago. These are the things that you need to know. And if you are attempting to destroy a community and remove them from their rightful place on earth, you don't let them know that. And then remember, I was talking about divide and conquer earlier in the program. Guess what happens? You got divide and conquer going on in the state of Florida. 2 months ago, I told you, Ron DeSantis made it illegal to have advanced placement African-American studies in high schools. Advanced placement African-American studies. If you're not familiar with advanced placements, that means you take these classes in high school and you get college credit for it because they're so advanced. First and foremost, I don't even want our children to do advanced placement simply because this is something, African-American studies is something that you need to have a college level education about. High school's not going to cut it. So I'm glad, I'm not glad they cut it out, but I'm glad they cut it out. It's not a good thing that they cut it out, but if you want to know your history, you need to be taught at a college level anyway, but you do need it at a high school level because everybody's not going to go to college. What they've done, initially he did away with advanced placement, Jewish studies, advanced placement, Latino studies, advanced placement, African-American studies, and advanced placement Asian studies. He just reinstated advanced placement Asian studies, divide and conquer. You have two so-called minority groups and you pit them against each other. Oh, how y'all get it and we don't? See, that's what we're supposed to do. But it's been a lot of videos we've placed online where Asian people coming out saying, nah, we know what you're doing. It's a white supremacist trick and you're trying to get us to fight with the black people and this, that, and the third. Am I saying everybody in that community is on board with it? No. I'm just saying, realize when they shove the banana in the tailpipe and understand what's going on. It is an attempt to get you to be fighting with them, but we don't need to fight with any other culture on the earth. We need to fight with the governments of this United States of America and put them on notice and let them know that we're registering people to vote. We have a direct and defined path that we're on, and we're trying to make sure our grandchildren's grandchildren live comfortably on this earth. That's what our goal is. What somebody else has nothing to do with us. We want it too. And that's all we have to be in lockstep with. We have to do what we have to do to ensure our happiness inside of our community. What Billy has nothing to do with what H-Rap needs. What Billy has absolutely nothing to do with what H-Rap needs, because you gave it to Billy. Guess what? H-Rap and 60 million other people who look like H-Rap need to go into the polls next November and make sure we get rid of all these people who are not doing our bidding with an agenda, not just voting for H-Rap, telling H-Rap, you said this, and this. You told us you were going to do this and add this to the list. So now you got 10 things on the list. You really knowing you're only going to get 4. Make sure you get those 4. Try to get 5. You want 10, but you want to get 5. If you need a nickel, ask for a dime. You might get 7 cents. And that's the mentality we have to look out for. I'm going to close out the show with this. Marjorie Taylor Greene pulled out an old trope. And again, this is proof positive that the Reconstruction era for white nationalism and white bigotry, racism, and discrimination is in full effect. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a representative of the state of Georgia, House of Representatives person of the state of Georgia. This woman is in my personal opinion, the way I see her, is a wicked, evil individual. She is a bigot in the worst way, in my personal point of view. I'm not saying that she is. From the things I've heard she say, the things that she said that I've heard, her temperament and the lies that she spews, in my personal opinion, only racists look that way. She may not be, but as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly who she is. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a run-in with Hakeem Jeffries, and they were doing a debate, and this is a public debate, a public forum. Nobody's threatening, nobody's lurching over somebody, nobody's doing any intimidation tactics. What did Marjorie Taylor Greene do? Marjorie Taylor Greene went in front of the United States press and said, I was intimidated and he scared me. That's exactly why Emmett Till didn't get to see his late teens. He didn't get to see his teens, his 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, because it was a racist witch, just like this witch, that told a lie and got that young man lynched. And just because we know about Emmett Till, understand there are a whole lot of other dead brothers and sisters in those lakes throughout the United States of America. Trust and believe that was going on. So when you have people doing things like that, trying to draw ire to a brother like Hakeem Jeffries, a brother who is well respected throughout Congress, well respected throughout his district, well respected throughout the political world, she tried to make him seem like a wicked, evil, dangerous black man. And she knows it. And he called her a white nationalist or white supremacist, and she said that's equal to the N-word. Well, the last time I checked, I ain't never seen any white people strung up at the end of trees and light poles and get tarred and feathered and burned to death after being called a white supremacist. I've never seen that in the history of the 53 years I've been, 52, almost 53 years I've been walking the face of this earth. I have never seen that. So this is what is called a red herring. And when you muddy the waters with a red herring, what, in my personal opinion, you're trying to get someone politically assassinated or potentially physically destroyed. So this is what we're talking about. And the murderer, I refuse to say this dude's name, and they keep addressing him as a Marine. He's an ex-Marine for one, and they keep saying Marine because what does that do? When you say Marine, these white nationalists and these soft racists of the world, they look at him as an upstanding defender. Thank you for your service. That's your program to say thank you for your service. He choked our brother Jordan Medley to death on that train after having a mental health crisis. He said, I'm sick of this. I don't even care if I go to jail. I'm hungry and I don't care if I go to jail. This dude jumped up and choked him to death. You have white folks in America, and you probably got a couple of these coconuts out here too, talking about he's a good Samaritan. You had people telling us, trying to explain to us how he was doing the right thing because dude was threatening. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't get anybody's face. He was loud on a train. So understand, when they do wrong, they get behind the wrongdoer and support him. When we do wrong, we go to jail or die. Understand, this is racism 1.0. This is they sticking with the game plan. This is the blueprint of racism. If you do not believe what I'm saying, just continue to watch the news, continue to read news outlets, go join Build and Destroy on Facebook, and I drop articles. I got articles that's going to post tomorrow already. They're going to one post at 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. You got history facts 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's called Build and Destroy, the end of the bench, Build and Destroy. It's on Facebook. You get that information. I drop information every day. I already got it programmed for tomorrow. It's just the times need to come about because we need to be abreast. I don't use CNN. I don't use MSNBC. I don't use any of those outlets. I use a app. You can even look it up. You can even use it. I advise you to use it because in the event that you don't feel like going on Facebook because it's a bit toxic, I understand that. You can go look up this app. It is called Hayati. Hayyti. You might pronounce it Haiti, but understand that it's the Western European colonized way of pronouncing it is Hayati. The island is the island of Hayati. We call it Haiti. without a colonized tongue. But understand, that's where I get my information from. That's where I get the stories from. That's why I want to empower you guys with. That's the information, because Black media has stood the test of time and is telling the truth. If you don't understand, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan were hit with nuclear weapons back in 1945. The mainstream press said, oh, ain't nothing going to happen. A Black man who had a medical background and he was now a journalist said radiation is going to affect those people for years. It has affected those people for years. Ta-da, Black media is important. Black media is important. That's why I need you to subscribe. I need you to hit the like button. I need you to start inviting people. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because the only way we're going to stay abreast of the things that's going on, support myself, Phil Scott and the African diaspora, Roland Martin, and dozens of others. But hopefully this is your favorite outlet to get this information. And don't forget, I got another couple shows. I'm coming back into the sports round. It's going to be called Get Off My Lawn, sports point of view from an old man. And then me, my man Grade A, and my man Big Mo, we coming out with the Chief Seeks, because we're going to be talking about social issues. We're going to be talking about entertainment. We're going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about a myriad of things. It's going to be fun. It's going to be serious. It's going to be tactical. It's going to be me, instead of talking to you all day, instead of it being dissertation, it's going to be a conversation. We may even get to the point we having guests, but what we are going to do is try to create a culture in which we're sharing information that is needed by the community, not just if LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, if this R. Kelly need to go to jail, because none of those things are distractions. I love entertainment. I enjoy a good game of sports. I'm going to start going to WNBA games. I love watching baseball. I love all that. I watch Power. I do all the same things, but it has to come to a point where we need to come together while we're watching Power, while we watching the football game, while we at the barbershop or at the hairdresser or at the salon getting our feet and nails done. Yeah, men get their feet and nails done too. We need to be having these conversations so we can get out of this, so we can remove that footprint from our necks. With that being said, I really and truly appreciate each and every person who tuned in tonight. If you can, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tune in. As usual, I say this every week. I want to salute Reggie O'Shea, a.k.a. Combat Jack, by saying dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. And always remember, evil will always be present, but you don't have to be available.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now it's people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him two to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim, and you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang. Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang. Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.